I am here with John Knoll. He's the Chief Creative Officer at ILM. That's Industrial Light and Magic. John, you are one of the wise old men of the village at this point. How did this happen? How did you become so savvy and experienced in this field?
Well, hard knocks. I've been doing this for a while. I started in fall of 1980. How did it happen? I'm just pursuing your passion. You pick something that you really care about and you pursue that doggedly. I'm from a family of scientists and engineers and medical professionals, so I'm the black sheep of the family that went into entertainment. My dad was actually really supportive, but his one bit of cautionary advice is, just remember, you're going to have to pay your own rent.
You've worked with James Cameron, you've worked with George Lucas, obviously. What is it like to work with these guys who are also at the top of their field?
Oh, it's a pleasure to work with these extremely proficient and great filmmakers. Jim Cameron was great to work for. He holds you to a high standard. He's tough, but he's in a lot of ways an ideal client in that he knows exactly what he wants. He has a high taste level, so you can trust where you're being led. He's consistent about where he wants to go with it, so the target is consistent. We know where we're going with that.
You also worked with George Lucas, obviously, on episodes 1, 2, and 3. How thrilled were you when you heard that you were going to be working on the new Star Wars films?
Well, Star Wars had a huge impact on my deciding to go into this as a career in the first place. And a long-term goal of mine when I was starting out was someday I want to be a visual effects supervisor on something at the scale of a Star Wars movie. And Episode 1 at the time was the biggest effects film that had ever been done. And we were used to a situation where almost every project we worked on, there was some aspect of it that was new and hadn't ever been done before. But my first storyboard conference on Episode 1, where I saw 3,500 storyboards. Whenever I'd see something in the storyboards that was something that we had no way of currently doing, and it wasn't just for a shot or two, it was for hundreds, thousands of shots, 2,000 shots in that movie. It was a big, scary, didn't even look like it was possible to do in the amount of time we had. But I have to imagine that that's what all of the original Star Wars movies were like.
The Force will be with you, always.
So one other thing people might not know about you is you're also one of the co-creators of Photoshop. Do you get a lot of Christmas cards from supermodels saying thank you for making us so beautiful?
No, but I do occasionally run into people whose careers have been transformed in one way or another by having Photoshop available as a tool. Photoshop is a democratization of technology. Prior to the advent of Photoshop, you could do things like that, but they were on very, very expensive computers that people couldn't own. It was $1,000 an hour to do that kind of work. I think it's a tragedy when somebody who has talent and interest is not able to express themselves because of the barred entry being money or resources.
John, it has been a total pleasure meeting you. Thanks for being on the show. And I think I speak for a lot of people out there watching right now. I love you.
I know.